A very good afternoon. I, on my own behalf and behalf of NITI Aayog, would like to thank and take the honor in welcoming our honorable member, Professor Ramesh. Our honorable Vice Chairman will be joining soon. He is in some meeting. And representative from WFP and Country Director, Shri Bishow, Parajuli, CEO, National Rainfed Area Authority, Dr. Ashok Dalwai, my colleague and Joint Secretary, who she is leading this program from the Ministry, Ms. Shubha Thakur ji, Additional Director General, Dr. D.K. Yadav. You know, he is well-known breeder, and he is driving the mission for breeding of the millets in the country. Thank you, sir. And Dr. B. Dayakar Rao, who is Principal Scientist and the CEO of the Nutri Hub from IIMR, Indian Institute of Millet Research. DG ICRISAT, who is online, from Kajri, Dr. Yadav, Director of the Kajri. Vice Chancellors of Anand University, Vice Chancellor of the University of Agriculture, Forestry and Solar, and the state government officers, those who are present here from Delhi, HP, UP, Haryana, Sikkim, Madhya Pradesh. And I also would like to thank all the jury members, Dr. Arvind K. Padi, Ms. Shubha Thakur, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, Director CFTRI, Dr. Vilas Tonapi, who is former Director of IIMR, Ms. Jona Kane, who is Executive Director and co-founder of Food 2030, and my co-member secretary, Pradhanya Pathankar. She is heading Climate Resilient Group in WFP. I also welcome all our esteemed guests present here in person and also virtually, the print and electronic media in particular, who will help us to carry the message of this particular event. It gives me immense pleasure to see such a vast participation from multiple departments of the center and state governments, KVKs, industry, FPO, startups, academic and research institutions. Government of India has taken several initiatives and policies as we celebrating the 2018 National Year of Millets, and then gadget millets as the nutri cereals, and following the proposal to the United Nations General Assembly to celebrate 2023 as the International Year of the Millet, and where 70 countries have pledged to engage various stakeholders for promoting the wider usage of millets and higher production and productivity of millets across the globe. Millets are not only beneficial for the consumers, but also they are very beneficial for the farmers, as they are easy to grow, require very less input, they can be grown in less fertile soils, and also climate resistant. And as we all are aware that we are the biggest producer of the millets and proposer of the International Year of Millets, so it is giving us the opportunity to lead in reviving millets through scaling up and replicating the millets value chain in other countries to leverage the emerging demand from the global market. And with this background, NITI Aayog and United Nations World Food Programme, India has entered a partnership to promote the millets and its total value chain, especially for the small and marginal farmers. And today we have gathered to launch Mapping and Exchange of Good Practices initiative and unveil the web portal, which will help to exchange the good practices interest in promoting millets, are not for just nutrition or food security, but also for economic growth and development of the country. I am looking forward for the live discussion and dealing with technical session as well as beginning today. Now I would like to request my colleague from the Ministry of Agriculture, Ms. Shubha Thakur, to address each participant and discuss about the some programs of the ministry, because she is leading that program.
Representative and Country Director, World Food Programme, Dr. Ashok Dalwai, CEO, National Rainfed Authority, Dr. Neelam, Patel, my good friend ADT Seeds, Dr. Yadav, Dr. Rauji, DG ICRISAT, who is online, and ladies and gentlemen present here today and also online, Asia and Africa. It is indeed a very good initiative, and this endeavor will surely put millets right on the map, the global map. I would just like to brief the audience here how India took this initiative and why we took the initiative of going to the UN and making a pitch for declaring the year 2023 as International Year of Millets. India produces 170 lakh ton millets, which is 80% of Asia's production and 20% of global production. In fact, we are very well poised to become the global hub for millets. So, as Neelam was mentioning that we celebrated the 2018 as National Year of Millets, and after that a number of steps were taken by the Government of India, such as including nutri-cereals as a part of the National Food Security Mission. They were declared as nutri-cereals in a gazette, and many submissions and seed distribution, breeder seed intervention, a lot of steps were undertaken. Millets or nutri-cereals are a very important crop. They are basically smart foods. They require less water and they can grow even in very, very harsh conditions. So it is a very good crop for climate change, to fight climate change. Also, they have many very good nutritional properties and health benefits. So most of you would be knowing this, but the earliest evidence for millets was found in the Indus civilization around 3000 BC. So it is from that time that millets are popular in this country, and so we have to bring back the glory of millets in India. As my Honourable Minister was mentioning in a recent conference of State Agriculture Ministers in Bangalore, that the millets have to come back in our everyday thalis. Just as we made International Day of Yoga a big success, yoga means India. The same way millets should mean India also. And every child, every citizen should know the benefit of millets and why millets is important. So this is the momentum and this is the hard task that we have ahead of us for promoting millets internationally and also in India. Traditionally, the top 5 states for millet crops are Rajasthan, where we have bajra, Karnataka, ragi, Maharashtra, ragi and jowar, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana have bajra. Though Africa has the largest area under millets, 489 lakh hectares, and production is 423 lakh tons, but India has a good productivity. We have a productivity of 1239 kg per hectare, and there is a lot of scope for cooperation between Africa and Asia and in the world for promoting these very important crops. So what did the Government of India do after we went to the UN? So when this was declared in March 2021, supported by over 70 countries of the United Nations, then the Government of India has formed a very high-level working group. There's a group of ministers which oversees the whole events, and the first meeting of the group of ministers was held on 12th July. So this is the kind of importance that this program has got from the Government of India, and it is regularly being seen by the Cabinet Secretary also. We've had a lot of meetings since last year, and both ICAR and Department of Agriculture are working together in this. There is a core committee of both the departments where both the secretaries are the members of the core committee, and any decision which is taken is being taken jointly by the two secretaries. And the Indian Institute of Millet Research has been designated as a nodal agency for millets for India. So anybody who wants to have any technical guidance or support should approach the Indian Institute of Millet Research. Dr. Thakur, he is the CEO of NutriHub. He is present here today. He has vast knowledge and vast experience, and he has helped many people for this endeavor. ICRISAT has been designated as the knowledge partner for India for this International Year of Millets, because ICRISAT has a lot of presence all over the world, and especially in Africa, where we can work together. And in the FAO also, a steering committee has been formed, and India is taking lead in the steering committee. And in that steering committee, the global events for FAO would be decided, and we would take it forward. So India has basically identified 7 sutras or 7 themes. Just like I was seeing in this paper, there are 6 themes here also, what NITI is proposing. So the first and foremost important theme which the Government of India would be looking after is production and productivity. We have to work on this. Though production is 170 lakh ton, but there is a lot of scope to improve it further. Also, productivity issues are there, for which our major partner is the ICAR and IIMR. And the second sutra is nutrition and health benefits. So for nutrition and health benefits, we have identified the Ministry of Health and FSSAI to work with us, the DGHR. So they will be taking this theme forward. The third theme is value addition, processing and capacity development. So for this value addition and processing, MOFP, the Ministry of Food Processing Industry, is playing a major role. And they have in fact recently announced a very major PLI scheme where they have included millets. So MOFP is also taking this forward. And millets is part of 20 districts under the ODOP program. So, and with those 20 districts, we are in the regular touch. And we had a VC with all the 20 districts recently, MOFP and agriculture. And each district is preparing a plan for millet development according to their strength of that district, whether it be for export, for domestic consumption, or for processing. So the fourth is entrepreneurship and collective development. For entrepreneurship, Commerce Ministry is the lead ministry for this. And they work with APIDA, and APIDA is playing a big role in propagating millets around the world. Then we have the fifth theme of awareness creation, which I think is a very important theme to make millets very popular, where we have to do the branding, the labeling and the promotion. Many small startups and companies are there, but somehow they are not getting that global recognition that these millets, that this is an Indian millet, you should eat it. That has to be globally recognized. So on that we have to work hard, and all the departments and all the state governments have to work together for this also. A very important plan for International Year is the international outreach. Just as we made International Yoga Day very popular, the same way we have to make in millets, the International Year of Millets popular. The difference being that Yoga Day is one day, Year of Millets is the whole year. And the momentum has to be built from right now and carried on throughout 2023. So many events and many programs will have to be designed not only by India but by the world and by the state governments also. By the FCI. So that is one policy, and other policy interventions also can be thought of. So these are the 7 sutras or themes that we have. In the recent conference of the state agriculture ministers, which we had in Bangalore, where over 17 ministers have come, and the millets presentation was made there as well. It was one of the major presentations which was made. And just as we have 7 themes of government in India, the 7 themes have to be also done similarly by the state governments, by their respective departments. So unless and until we have the cohesion of the state departments also, this program cannot be a success. So after that, after the year was announced in the United Nations, we've had a series of meetings with all the stakeholders, be it processors, be it chefs, nutritionists, be it processing industries. So everybody, we took everybody on board. We have listened to their suggestions, and we have come up with they have come up with very good ideas which need to be addressed by us. So that is going on. And in fact, 6 task forces were set up on the 7 themes which I just announced, and those task force reports have also come out, and they were headed by either ICR DDGs or additional secretaries in the ministry, and very good recommendations have come out of those task force reports, which will be helpful in implementation throughout the year. And ICR kicked off the event of millets in Hyderabad in September 21, where we presented the blueprint of the government. In that blueprint, we presented what role each department of government of India has to play, and we gave lots of activities what they would be doing. And after we presented those activities to the separate departments, 13 departments have come back to us with their specific action plans. So already 13 government of India departments have made their plans for next year, and so the awareness has really kicked in. And the agriculture minister had a VC with all the state agriculture ministers. He's written to all the state departments and lieutenant governors. So the whole outreach by the government has been going on for the past 6-7 months on a very big scale. And And of course, this meeting in NITI is also a testament to the fact that the importance that millets plays in the government today. I was mentioning the Dubai Expo. The Dubai Expo was a very, very good platform to showcase millets because many people really didn't know what millets were. In the Ahar festival of Pragati Maidan, and in the Ahar festival, I got a very good feedback from office that the ready to eat and ready to cook products were very popular and many people picked it up. So that was a good beginning because that's the easiest way to popularize millets. We've already had this VC with 18 districts for the millets, and recently a study has been granted to the Indian Institute of Millet Research where they will establish the health benefits of nutri-cereals. Unless and until we tell the common man why millets is important, what to eat, what are the benefits, it will not be accepted. Many things have been accepted blindly, like in production and productivity conference jointly organized by ICR and agriculture. There will be a global chef and nutrition conference, and there will be one food processing conference. Throughout the world, we have planned conferences. There will be one major conferences of South-South cooperation, which will be done in collaboration with ICRISAT, and 3 major conferences by the Ministry of Commerce in the Middle East, Europe and USA. And on the launch day, we plan to tell all our embassies to serve millets in the embassies that day for the whole week. The External Affairs Ministry has already taken steps to include millets in the banquets which they hold, either in India or abroad. So they are already putting millets in their dinners and lunches, and the Indian diaspora will be given a big role. We will also try and rope in international food influencers and global ambassadors through the MEA and through other means also. So what can be done by the states? As I mentioned, we had a good meeting in Bangalore, and prior to that meeting we had a VC with all the state governments earlier this year, where Karnataka and Odisha showcased their best practice, what they are doing for promotion of millets. They have very good models. Karnataka, I can see, is here present today, and even in this in the Bangalore conference, Odisha also made a presentation, and so learning from each other is the best way to make this product popular. And so the states can play an important role by learning from each other, and millets can be served in the midday meals. It could be, so there are many ideas which the state governments can implement, and as we go along throughout the year, we will be giving more and more ideas how to do it. But students can be roped in through universities and schools, and there can be many competitions around millets, song competitions, poetry competitions, poster competitions. Like we had this mass movement of the Swachh Bharat. So we have a very good model where we can learn from what can be done. So this is some of the ideas. The railways, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has already told us that they will propagate millets on their platforms, in the airports. So that is also a very good place to advertise, because many people pass through and they have time also, they can see.
All the dear participants here in this hall and all participants on the virtual platform. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. We, over the last 6 years, are already seeing some shoots of growth. What we saw in 2015-16, the production had come down, and we are seeing an addition of about 34% over the last 6 years. As per the data provided by the Directorate of Economics and Statistics, there has been an increase in productivity between 2015-16 till last year by 45%. This is a very good sign. And the overall output has gone up by around 35%, as I said. Now, if we are certainly going to go forward with this millets now, and it has caught the imagination of everybody concerned. Since the session today is about identifying, exchanging, mapping the best practices with a view to enhancing millet production in our country, we should be very clear as to why we want to do this thing. Randomly, there will be many good reasons for us to do it. But to my mind, three very critical factors supported another fourth factor comprise that given the climate change today and certainty of the weather extremes, we need a climate resilient crop, and millets are considered as climate resilient. However, we cannot rest with being climate resilient in intervention. We need to move toward climate smartness so that we are able to increase the supply. The second one is, given the less than adequate health status of our people, as we see nutrition related diseases like kwashiorkor, millets called nutri-cereals now are a good response. And the third one, from the perspective of equitability in our country. Today, the rainfed farmers, who are spread over 52% of the arable land, are suffering from inequity. The data shows that the average output of agriculture in irrigated areas is 3.1 tons per hectare, while it is 1.1 tons per hectare in rainfed areas. And at NARA, we did make a rough calculation of investments between irrigated systems and rainfed systems. We just can't compare. It would be almost a crime to replace those data here. So obviously, if our aim is to improve the incomes of the farmers under the DFI strategy and henceforth also under the income strategy, the lowest hanging fruit is to look at farmers in the rainfed regions. That will first result in increasing the incomes, average incomes of the country, and more importantly, to bring equitability. As it is, agriculture suffers from inequitous situation, and within the agriculture sector, the rainfed farmers suffer from further inequitability. So we need to, these are according to me the four reasons why we should be promoting millets. Our hard work. So that is one thing that I would like to say. So the slogan has to be that it's good for citizens as consumers, good for citizens as farmers, and good for Mother Earth. And all this fits well with everything else that India is now trying to do: conservation agriculture, yoga, and other people-centric approaches that government is focusing on. The second one is that whatever strategy we are going to adopt, we must keep in mind that while today we are producing around, so if we confine only to these three crops, we will be looking at 5 states: Karnataka, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, UP, and Bihar. So Bihar is good. You have left out larger parts of the country which are equally rain-fed and which are actually behind in agricultural growth. And that's where the 6 other millets, minor millets as we call them, Proso, etc., are being grown. So our strategy has to be very clear. Are we going to once again focus only on these 3 or 3 plus 6? That would then give us a roadmap right from the research and development up to the marketing side. The one of the good lessons, and R&D has to correct itself first in favor of the millets. The millets, so that we start having quick results. So that is one, amendment to the value chain that we must begin with. So value chain need not start with farmers, but it should start with the research labs. The third issue is, how do we reconcile and balance supply and demand? Because whatever we are growing today is being consumed. It's not that it is going waste. So if we are going to more focus on demand creation and do not match it to supply, then we are likely to have a friction somewhere, and once the demand generated is not met, then we could have another problem of recreating a demand after some time. So we'll have to draw a roadmap such that we are going to balance supply and demand very correctly as possible. The fourth issue is about what is the best stimulus for increasing the production. So when we to substantiate this, today oilseeds, despite very substantial jump in the NSP and procurement also, they are still not able to catch up for the simple reason that the wheat and paddy yields are almost unmatched. So we will have to see how both productivity as well as the price stimulus are more synchronized and then give us a growth in the total output. And the next issue would be that the per capita consumption, of course, we will have to certainly look at. That per capita consumption of millets has come down. Provided we say that we can substitute wheat and paddy by the millets, then they will get the same support as they would get for wheat and paddy. So high volume versus low volume consumption. How much after all we consume at 5 star okay? All of it could look very nice, but I think ultimately the proof of it would be how much volume is going to be done. So I think we must find out all sources of high volume consumption of the millets and then focus on that. And the next issue that I should talk about is the focus on byproducts. In case of millets, that not just the main product which is important. The byproducts, whether it's straw or stalk or roots, or all other associated things, at least can contribute 1/3 of the value to the farmer's returns. So we will have to focus short of green fodder by at least 64%. And dry fodder also is a problem in many parts of the world. Whereas many millets are actually good as fodder. So we have researched that many species of fodder. So whether we can actually promote fodder, millets, not just for human consumption, those are good as nutrition, okay, but also for the animals. Because once we are going to take care of the animals, the livestock, then indirectly we will actually building the nutrition component. The per capita consumption, milk will improve, per capita consumption, meat will improve, and to that extent, ultimately nutrition of people is served. So these are some of the points that we thought to highlight this thing. And I would also like to get some oilseeds. So I can see a virtual cycle between a policy for Rainfed areas and the policy for the millet which the government has taken on itself. So sir, here I put a stop to my thoughts and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Bishow, sir, for his address.
The Dr. Ashok Dalwai, CEO of National Rainfed Area Authorities, and Dr. Neelam Patel, and also Srimati Shubha Thakur, and all senior government officials, academics, and researchers. I'm really humble and delighted to be here and sharing some thoughts and ideas. And also to say that WFP is extremely glad to be partnering with NITI Aayog in this endeavor to map and exchange good practices. World Food Program with its offices in 84, 85 countries across the world, most of it also in Africa and Asia. I think we have an opportunity to engage and really bring that experiences here. I really want to congratulate India for this leadership. This is really commendable. It's not a small thing because at this current time we have a threat to increasing food insecurity, rising food insecurity, threat to the Agenda 2030, and lots of challenges. So therefore, India coming through the General Assembly resolutions and also taking leadership to promote traditional crop that used to be there, and also supporting an increased nutritional intake is really commendable. I think a lot have been said by Professor Dalwai and also Srimati Shubha Thakur, and I will not repeat that, but my own personal experience use of millet in WFP program goes 40 years back. We used to have school feeding program in several countries in Southern Africa using completely sorghum. And it was really relished by them, and a lot of time, even if these countries did not produce enough, they imported sorghum and millets from US and other countries, which are usually used for animal feed for that matter, or breeding. So therefore, I think finding a way to increase productivity, increase area, and introducing millet, also promoting resilient crop in this period of increasing threat to climate change is another preventive measure India is promoting. So it's not only bringing back traditional crops and nutritional element, but as Professor Dalwai said, it's safeguarding farmers in the arid area, their livelihood, their virtual living situation. So this is really commendable. Of course, the concern has been is no growth in the production of millet. Overall, staying at stagnated amount, it seems. So, but then, so with these efforts, what we have been thinking and putting forward, I really believe there would be a huge opportunity to expand it. WFP buys commodities across various countries. In fact, we're looking forward to buying millets in India for several countries in the sub-Saharan Africa, given the current food shortage and etc. Or maybe Haryana, the consumption is yes, and the perception there. This is my understanding personally. Traveling and visiting there. So I think we need to, as a part of campaign, also increase this visibility through Bollywood or some other dignitaries. I think you mentioned about serving meal in foreign nations and etc. But we need to do that work also in India, I believe. And there is the best thing in India we have is these various internal programs like midday meal or integrated childhood program or even public distribution system. Depending on the states and the consumption and food habit, probably there could be a component added into it in terms of its promoting this production, consumption, as well as the best practices and allocation methods in India. So thank you very much. I want to really sincerely congratulate India for this leadership and including us as a partner to NITI for supporting and joining. And I think a lot can be beneficial with these efforts. Thank you very much.
Symposium, those who are present in this room and also those who have joined us online. So first of all, I really want to thank all of you for your interest in today's meeting on mapping and exchange of good practices for millet mainstream in Asia and Africa. I'm sure that if this kind of interest is sustained in millet, then certainly we will succeed in taking millet to the place where it deserves to be taken. This UN has declared year 2023 as International Year of Millet on the application of India. I feel that put substantial responsibility on India for promotion of millet, not only within India but also globally. Because if it was to be done within India, then we need to declare millet as something on national event or give it some national status to it. The fact that we approached the UN and requested for declaring 2023 for dedicating a year to millet clearly shows that India wanted to make its good practices global good, like we have International Day of Yoga, because we wanted yoga to become a international practice because it is for welfare and health, spirituality of everyone. So similarly, I think this move to bring millet to the global limelight was a part of clear thinking. Organizers. So I will briefly conclude in another 2-3 minutes. We have a very busy day today. So when we talk of good practices, the good practice should also cover good practices in policy. Like Haryana is one state which is implementing deficiency price payment for Badra, and it is quite successful. So if I think other states also adopt it, then in case of Badra, their fluctuation in year-to-year production is so huge that sometimes you get 30% more and sometimes you get 40% less. Because it is grown in marginal environment, subject to vagaries of nature. So very important that what kind of price insurance we offer. So that is also a good practice. Similarly, there could be innovation in processing, there could be innovation in connecting producer to consumer. So along with having entry on production, better you encourage that you would also encourage entries on policy innovation, processing innovation, and related to value chain. So how we make, how we promote millets in the year of International Year of Millets, I feel that it should become part of the all development program of Government of India. I think millets are best candidate for climate smart agriculture. So integrate it with the climate smart mission, integrate it with the sustainability mission, and see to it that millets are covered under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, because they are very risky crop. They need this kind of support. So I feel that if we pay proper attention to R&D, proper attention to policy, proper attention to best practice, and create awareness about millets, then millet will move from crop of compulsion to crop of option. Right now they are the crop of compulsion, that where you have no choice. By compulsion you have to grow these. So let us keep this goal before us, that we have to convert millets from crop of compulsion to crop of option. So with these words, I will once again thank all of you for participating in this workshop and look forward.
Professor Ramesh he's forgotten much more about agriculture than I will ever know, but it's just the compulsions of the day. So, Government of India has already taken numerous steps to promote millets and has also well recognized the role of millets in nutritional security of India. But there, as you will have heard and will hear again in the technical section, there are multiple challenges related to millets that need to be addressed, both in terms of production and adaptability among consumers. But I might also add that cultivating a taste for millets is an important part of that. So we need to identify both demand and supply constraints contributing to the decline in production of this wonder crop, and formulate our policies accordingly. Sharing best practices identifies and fills knowledge gaps, generates creative and innovative ideas, enables better decision making, and cuts down costs and time. And I can commend the efforts of NITI Aayog and the World Food Program, and believe that this partnership, and wish that this partnership results in tangible output to bring about transformational change in the nutritional status of this country. But as I understand it, this is also about spreading good practice elsewhere in the world. So with these very few remarks, Neelam, I'm in your hands again.
Here, sir, this mouse is there, so sir, this is the growth focus, so click and then.
Okay, sitting or standing?
Well, not sitting is okay.
Okay, so where should I click?
Click to launch.
Click to launch.
Click,
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Does that work?
Yes. So the that is the.
Has it, should it come up?
Yeah, it will come, sir.
We understand. We are under the double guidance of
So now,
Pleasure and honor to propose vote of thanks on this launching ceremony of mapping and exchange of good practices for millets mainstreaming in Asia and Africa. I, on behalf of our team at NITI Aayog, convey deep regards and hearty thanks to Sri Suman Bery, Honorable Vice Chairman NITI Aayog, for making his gracious presence and inaugurating the website. Dear friends, we have today on the coordinate NITI Aayog, Dr. Ramesh sir. We are greatly encouraged by your gracious presence, sir, and your address on this occasion of launching this website. We are extremely grateful to Sri Bishow, Parajuli, Representative and Country Director, World Program, India, for partnering with us for this important project towards mainstreaming millet in Asia and Africa. Policy Officer and Mr. Prajna Paindkar, World Food Program. My thanks to Dr. Neelam Patel, Senior Advisor, NITI Aayog, Agriculture Vertical, for her encouragement, guidance and leading the team for this important project. I convey thanks to all distinguished invitees, delegates from World Food Program, ICR, KVK, Central and State Government Departments, University, FPO, Director General ICRISAT.
So mainstreaming millets involves various components, both R&D to the commercialization and policy entrepreneurship. Of course, when it comes to the beginning is that the millet cultivation with the farmers. These are the various states that are growing. So you can see the pan-India presence and how it to go into an integrated framework for the mainstreaming of millets. Next. And just quickly go through Odisha Millet Mission, where they incentivized production through improved agronomy, decentralized procurement and processing, market assistance and policy support. I am not just explaining, but the broad titles that one can consider for taking it forward, that the awareness creation for enhanced consumption. So the magnum of the operation that took place and it is being scaled up is quite 19 districts, 142 blocks, 79 gram panchayats and 18,000 villages and farmers, about 11 lakhs, 1 lakh 10,000. So this Odisha Millet Mission, we see that about 215% increase in gross value of millet produce per farmer household. This is one of the best models that are currently available, where the integration has happened all through that. The impact could be seen by the stabilization of area and productivity. This is very important thing. These are all marginal environments, and how for other states to take up. Some parts are also, we see that they are all under, that dry land and with poor marginal environments. And including Ragi in ICDS program piloting and then taking it. In the market front, that Millet Shakti Cave, I think that is one notable thing that is getting a traction with good quality products that are taken by the SHG groups and taking to the promoting the consumption. So this is not just a rural consumption model, but it has some inherent program and inherent weaknesses. What I understand is from the Odisha Millet Mission, industry connect is not established. Of course, it is technically, we see that the platform is made, but I think as they scale up, that one important thing that has to come up in terms of startups, as well as it is there, but it has to grow much faster. but the industry connect has to come. The next one is about Karnataka, previous case 2. Case 2 again is, they are the leaders in fact, that's what we saw over years in the past 2017-18 onwards. They have a particular model about incentivized production where 10 lakhs per hectare and financial assistance for processing units. So the complete value chain has been rolled out in this thing, but there was some slackening, but I think market facilitation and connecting FPOs with that of the federations and then to the industry was one of the laudable things that one can emulate from that. Procurement of ragi and jawar in two different ecologies with a bonus above MSP absorbed by the state government. Then we saw that the supply chain with the private sector engagement, that is what is strengthened and stabilized area and productivity. Of course, the boost to millet startups and one of the laudable thing is the international trade fair of that magnitude, that which they have shown, that is of a very high scale, and I think at the country level we need to have something like that. That is one thing, one learning that which we can take up. IMR has been a knowledge partner in many initiatives with this. Next one, ICR, IMR. Then we have in North Coastal Andhra also. Here again the local value chains have been established in tribal areas and integrated connectivity that has happened, that the produce is absorbed in the local ICDS programs as well as in the integrated tribal development schools. And so we see that there is a lot of empowerment that is taking place in these areas. Next. And then we see that INSIP is a program of DA and FW, and that was in fact laid a lot of foundation working in about 14 states. There are a lot of lessons that has happened, especially with the farm gate value addition and other things which were rolled out. But after that, subsequently the states have owned that. This was the beginning of that government of India promoting certain things, but later when the states were inclusive here, ICR, IMR was the nodal institute. Next one. Then here we see that in Madhya Pradesh, I think Madhya Pradesh is quite silent, and 40 villages it started, and they are coming up with a new program of a millet mission, and it appears to be robust because of the piloting that they have taken place in terms of the forward integration, especially with regard to they are very strong in Kodo and Kutti, and also Ragi is also become a part of that thing. So here we see that in each of the state the particular millet has a. So unfortunately, Bajra has not been a part of this millet machines in any of these states. I think that is what where the 50-60% of the production that comes for the millets is not included in this millets. So we need to really just concentrate on that particular single commodity. Even jawar is included, but not. Here we see the impact again with local self-help groups and working with the UNESCO and many other agencies, and they have brought out some sort of a code of conduct recognized the key assets in combating the climate change. Some sort of awareness among the tribal districts. This is a laudable thing, I feel, and this can be scaled up. Next one. They can, as Shubha Thakur madam was talking about, that it should make a global presence. I think that is one thing that one can take these things forward, because all the ingredients are put in place. In case of this thing, but the technology, training, all these things, that model should be replicated. Next one. This is Chhattisgarh Millet Mission. I was talking about the MOU with ICR has made an MOU with them, and then we have brought out really, this is minor forest producer department, Chhattisgarh. They have taken the lead and then coming up in a very big way. In fact, they are trying to integrate PMFME through FPO linkages, quality seed production and distribution, introduction in better endowed areas, and incentivization of millet cultivation is very, very vital for us. At least for some time, we need to offer this particular thing in various for the creation of demand, inclusion in like midday meals and ICDS program, announcement of MSP coupled with the procurement. This procurement which is not happening in all states, we need to take that. And market assistance through buyback options for demand. Rajasthan in particular, challenges in mainstreaming. So I have mentioned many of these things, so I would like to just only read out the way forward. It's strengthening this. The quality aspect is very, very vital when we take this millet promotion for way forward. Sensitization of farmers and local government around a change in MSP structure also needs to be thought of. Last slide. Branding through social media and other whatever the new age media that is coming up. Awareness about nutrition and health facts through brand ambassadors and participation of other government and private sectors. Decentralized private people are coming up now, I think more and more acceptability, including this PLA scheme. Many people have come for the millet product.
Dr. Thakur, in a very short time, you have brought out the entire value chain. You also painted the large canvas of our country as to where the shoots of encouragement are seen and where they should be seen. As you brought out, I think Bajra is something that was neglected. And that is the highest. Yeah, MSP and other things we can look at, but generally, yes, Bajra is something I think we neglected. 10 million hectares is under Bajra out of 18 million hectares of total area of millets. So Rajasthan is a state I think we should tap first. Rajasthan, because Rajasthan, 80% of its millets is all actually only on the budget. Okay, so we'll look at that. Thank you very much, and for everybody's information, Dr. Thakur is somebody who is been a missionary, nodal officer, scientist who has been pushing for this along with Dr. Vilas Tolpi. So we are extremely grateful to you both, Thakur, yourself, and Vilas is not here. So we'll thank you very much. So I'm sure.
Good evening to all esteemed participants and the honorable dignitaries. I'm going to just talk a bit about this initiative which is called as MEGP, or Mapping and Exchange of Good Practices for Millets Mainstreaming in Asia and Africa. So actually talking about this, I don't think I will need to give any background really, because I think at least in this room and online, those people who are here, there is no need for converting the converts. So we all are really committed to millets, and so next slide please. There is absolutely really no need for emphasizing why millets are essential and what are the critical factors. We have already talked about this. Just a bit, previous slide. Yeah, just a bit on the benefits of millet. So what we really look at is from the food security perspective, of course, so sustainable source of combating hunger. And it was talked as well that in the changing climate, there is more and more requirement by multiple countries, and better growth and productivity is something which actually needs to be emphasized. Climate resilience has been talked about, and though of course we know that millet has been the crop for, it's a traditional crop which actually stands back to the Harappan civilization. But it is also called as the future crop. So from the climate resilience perspective, one important aspect is also low nutrient inputs which are required. The third aspect which actually is very important is economic security. So when we are talking about low inputs, that itself is in a way low investment in terms of the needs for production and sustainable nutrient source to the farmers. So from that perspective, it does provide economic security. Nutritional security, again, there are lots of discussions about the nutritional contents in the various crops, the micronutrient rich, beta amino acid profile and all. And also the last but not the least is safety from diseases, and specifically when we are talking about the non-communicable or lifestyle diseases, where there is quite a lot of contribution that this millets they do offer. So just having said that, I'll straightway go to the demand and supply side factors, and again quite a lot actually has been said about it. So on the demand side, when we are talking about, there is quite a lot of potential that the safety nets, specifically food-based safety nets, they actually can create a sustainable or assured demand, but at the same time it does not really stop us, and it should not really stop us from going for commercial aspects or opportunities for poor social status and the lack of traditional knowledge, etc., which leads to issues related to demand side. So there has been, in fact, quite a lot of things which are done. There are islands of excellence, but then there are also issues regarding the scale up and mainstreaming. When we talk about supply side, again, there is quite a lot which was talked. One is like, of course, the productivity and the production, but at the same time about the profitability. How the case can be really economically viable, and how can that really sustain over a period of time. While the impetus is there is actually a rise in a particular demand or supply, but when that impetus is gone, will it sustain really? And how those kinds of models or experiences can really be looked at and leveraged upon and then integrated into our policy framework so that it sustains over a period of time. Next, please. Talking about the initiative. So we actually are thinking of mainly three objectives. So the first objective is basically to promote the climate resilient practices for sustainable food and nutrition security, and specifically focusing on most vulnerable communities, which also includes the smallholder farmers. The second objective is mainstreaming millet in the country and strategies that will strengthen India's global leadership in knowledge exchange, leveraging 2023 as an International Year of Millets. And
could be a combination of more than one factor, because any of those stakeholders could be having an entry point from any of the perspective, and from multilaterals, government departments and bilaterals. So it is an all-inclusive framework, and as in the beginning Punya also mentioned that millet is a converging theme. So it could be approached from any of the line departments, any of the aspects of state government, and also from the private and other collectives. So with this as a conceptual framework, next please. You could see the categories, the millet value chain, the 6 categories, and mainstreaming dimension are being drawn from that part. And also a dedicated category on the millet recipe. So it is to enhance the knowledge on the cooking method and develop millet recipes that could be included in the daily diet. So we know various traditional practices do exist, and it is existing in various scattered geography, and also only a few are being told or being known to urban consumers. So there is a mismatch, there is a disconnect. So this would also identify, possibly contribute to that knowledge piece. Next please. So eligibility. Entire Africa and Asia. It could be submitted by anyone from this geography. We have seen in the FAO stat, approximately 50 to 70 countries from Africa and Asia are homes where the millet is being cultivated. So these countries are definitely audience from where the organizations and practitioners from government, non-government, multilaterals, farmer producer organizations, self-help groups, primary agriculture cooperative societies, and any other cooperatives, private sector, startups, and individuals could submit the story. Solutions at the conceptual stage are not eligible. So which are in the formative stage, they are not eligible. The interventions which has been conceptualized and implemented in one of them of geography. Next please. So what are the incentives to the participants, those who are going to submit the stories? And we have seen various stakeholders who could submit the story. So there is different incentive for different stakeholders. Access to bridge initiative like tax supporting millet startup. We have just seen what IMR, Dr. Thakur's Innovation Hub, supported by Ministry of Agriculture, has done. It has gone beyond more than 300 startups operating in 18 or 19 states, and there is a long way to go. So there could be access to bridge initiative where the potential startups of private sector could be linked up with our own government of India's startup policy. And Invest India, the one agency, is the one agency which is heavily invested in that supporting those farmer producer organizations as well as startups. So there is some discussions, and under the aegis of NITI, those discussions will be happening. So access to bridge initiative, access to regional platform for learning dissemination. So 6 months down the line, there will be an international workshop where they will be also invited, the ones those who are going to be the winners. But at the same time, we also plan, NITI and WFP also plan to have a knowledge management platform. And currently contours of those are being discussed, but then they all have participants from Africa and Asia would be having access to that platform for knowledge exchange. And then networking platforms like meeting with donors, innovation lab, research institutes, government department would form part of that. That networking platform and regional platform could be a single platform, knowledge management platform. And the linkages with government departments, as Dr. Thakur mentioned, multiple states are in different stages of maturity of millet mainstreaming, and they have undertaken different steps across the value chain as per the framework. So there are enough scope of these multilaterals, bilaterals, government departments, NGOs, even FPOs to have linkages with these startups and scaling up. And finally, publication support. So these are the incentives for the individual submitters where we could be having a common collective effort. So it's like an umbrella effort, coalition of willing. New situation, practicality, ability to address significant current or emerging need, gender and inclusion, part and parcel of our own ability to reach the last mile, the most marginalized and excluded, particularly women, impact, how it has improved the outcome and the scale, and finally sustainability, potential for its scale-up and alignment with the public-private systems, because these are our current government's priorities, and this will help all the state governments and central government entities to pick and choose whom they would like to engage with. Next please, the timelines. Today we have launched. We will be having 2 months of window where we will be having a series of national and international dissemination programs. There are multiple events planned both in Asia and Africa, and also with state governments and various line ministerial departments.